What if I told you that the events from 1700 to 1720 changed everything? Welcome to Legacy of Years and our new series, Era by Era. In this first episode of our 20-year journey through history, we are diving into the early 18th century, a time of wars, alliances, and power shifts across Europe, Asia, and Americas. These 2 decades were marked by intense conflicts, pivotal treaties, and cultural shifts that set the stage for the modern world. Stick around as we explore the important events from 1700 to 1720 that helped shape history as we know it. Our first stop is the Great Northern War, which lasted from 1700 to 1721. This conflict pitted Charles XII of Sweden against Peter the Great of Russia, along with Denmark, Norway, Poland, and Saxony, all aiming to break Sweden's dominance in the Baltic region. The war ultimately led to Sweden's decline as a major European power and marked the rise of Russia, with Peter the Great establishing St. Petersburg as his window to the west. In our next video, we'll take a deeper dive into this pivotal conflict. In England, 1701 brought the Act of Settlement, a crucial law that secured the Protestant succession by preventing Catholics from taking the throne. This act eventually led to the Hanoverian succession and had a lasting impact on British monarchy and politics. How did this act shape the future of the British monarchy? Stay tuned to find out. Meanwhile, on the continent, the War of the Spanish Succession erupted in 1701 after the death of the childless Charles II of Spain. With several European powers vying for the throne, this war pitted France and Spain against an alliance of Britain, Austria, and the Dutch Republic. It ultimately ended in 1714 with the Treaty of Utrecht, which reshaped European boundaries and colonial holdings. What were the long term of this treaty on the politics? We will cover it deeply in our next videos. Queen Anne's War represented the North American front of the War of the Spanish Succession. During this conflict, English, French, and indigenous forces clashed for dominance over the New World, with battles occurring from New England down to the Caribbean. The war concluded in 1713, leading to significant changes in colonial boundaries and reshaping indigenous alliances, which would have lasting effects on the region. Back in Russia, Peter the Great began constructing St. Petersburg in 1703 during the Great Northern War, symbolizing his drive to modernize Russia and open it up to Western influence. This city would soon become the new Russian capital and a symbol of Peter's vision. The British capture of Gibraltar in 1704 during the War of the Spanish Succession was a strategic victory. Controlling Gibraltar gave Britain command over the entrance to the Mediterranean, a critical trade route that remains important to this day. In 1707, the Act of Union formally united England and Scotland, creating the Kingdom of Great Britain. This marked a major step in British state formation, combining resources and political influence to strengthen the nation. Also in 1707, the death of Emperor Aurangzeb signaled the beginning of the decline of the Mughal Empire in India. His successors struggled to maintain control, eventually leading to the empire's fragmentation and growing European influence. As we continue through era by era, we come to one of the most decisive battles of the early 1700s. If you're enjoying the journey, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Legacy of Years for more deep dives into history. The Battle of Poltava in 1709 was a pivotal turning point in the Great Northern War. Russia's decisive victory over Sweden not only shifted the balance of power in Northern Europe, but also solidified Peter the Great's reputation as a formidable leader. This battle marked the beginning of Sweden's decline as a great power. I'll delve deeper into the Great Northern War in an upcoming video, so stay tuned for a more comprehensive look at this significant conflict. The Hanoverian succession marks the transition of the British monarchy from the Stuart dynasty to the House of Hanover in the early 18th century. This change was driven by the Act of Settlement in 1701, which we mentioned earlier in this video to ensure a Protestant succession to the throne. The last Stuart monarch, Queen Anne, died in 1714 without a direct heir. Given that the Stuarts were Catholics, there was considerable concern among Parliament and the Protestant population for a Catholic ruler to take the crown. George I ascended to the throne in 1714, marking the beginning of the Hanoverian dynasty. His reign faced challenges due to limited English language skills and reliance on ministers, which led to the monarch becoming more of a ceremonial figure. This shift solidified the power of Parliament and the role of the Prime Minister, while the Whig party supporting the succession gained prominence. Following Queen Anne's death in 1714 and George I's accession, the Jacobites launched their second uprising, led by James Francis Edward Stuart, known as the Old Pretender. The rebellion began in Scotland, where the Jacobites captured several towns, but were ultimately defeated at the Battle of Sheriffmuir in 1715, leading to the surrender of their forces. Nassau emerged as a prominent pirate stronghold during the early 18th century, serving as a base for notorious pirates like Blackbeard and Charles Vane. This era, often referred to as the Golden Age of piracy, was marked by the decline of Spanish power in the region and the lack of effective British naval presence, allowing Nassau to operate as a pirate republic with its own governance. However, the stronghold began to decline in the 1720s due to British efforts to suppress piracy, particularly under Governor Woodes Rogers. After a series of intense battles between the Habsburgs and the Ottomans, including the decisive Habsburg victory at the Battle of Paderborn in 1716, the two powers came to the negotiation table. In 1718, they signed the Treaty of Passarowitz, officially ending the conflict. This treaty was a major win for the Habsburg monarchy, granting them key territories like the Banat of Temeswar and the city of Belgrade. It also ushered in a period of relative peace and marked a turning point in Southeast Europe, signaling the decline of Ottoman influence in the region. New Orleans was founded in 1718 by the French Mississippi Company, led by John Law and named after the Duke of Orleans. Its strategic location along the Mississippi River facilitated trade and growth, leading to a diverse cultural landscape. The city became a significant cultural hub, known for its music and festivals, and transitioned through various controls, including Spanish and French, before becoming part of the United States in 1803. The War of the Quadruple Alliance, 1718 to 1720, was a conflict between a coalition of Great Britain, France, the Dutch Republic, and the Habsburg monarchy against Spain, primarily due to Spanish territorial ambitions in Italy. The war concluded with the Treaty of The Hague in 1720, which the outcomes included strengthened naval power and territorial gains for Great Britain, restored prestige for France, protection of trade interests for the Dutch Republic, territorial stability for the Habsburg monarchy, and a significant decline in Spanish influence and ambitions. The Treaty of The Hague reaffirmed the territorial arrangements from the Treaty of Utrecht, solidifying the balance of power in Europe. And that wraps up the first episode of Era by Era. From the Great Northern War to the War of the Quadruple Alliances, these 2 decades shaped the course of history across the world. In upcoming videos, we'll dive deeper into events like the Great Northern War and the Treaty of Utrecht, exploring their long-term impacts. If you enjoyed this journey through history, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Legacy of Years, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Thanks for watching and see you next time.